Welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio, where we bring you conversations with the top business minds on Long Island and around the nation every week. Featuring expert consultants and small business owners who have found success but are also willing to share their top tips, failures, and give gritty, matter-of-fact advice based on their firsthand experience. Now, let's get down to business on Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Hello and welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation. My name is Ray Schwetz, AVP of Community Relations at Jovia Financial Credit Union, along with Donyshia Boston-Hill, CEO keeper of the brand marketing and digital agency, and we're focused on being the premier resource for business and entrepreneurship.
Weekly, we bring you business advice, tips, tools, and services that help you grow your business. Plus, we interview the top business leaders in the industry.
Now, I'm very excited about our guest today.
So am I.
Yes.
You know, they say like she's the spirited actor.
The spirited actor.
She's the actor whisperer.
I was just going to say that.
You were.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge movie buff, so can't wait to speak with our guest. So helping provide us with business empowerment today is our guest, Tracey Moore of The Spirited Actor. Welcome to the show, Tracey.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. And It's so funny because John David Washington calls me the actor whisperer. So
I love it.
You guys said that, yeah.
Yep.
Excellent.
Very cool stuff. Now, all right, so just a little bit about Tracey. Tracey Moore arrived in New York City in 1983 with $200 and a one-way ticket on a trunk from San Francisco. And she went from that to being a casting agent supreme. She's discovered so many talents, which I don't want to reveal just yet. But I can't wait to uncover that as we discuss it. So, again, thank you so much for doing this, Tracey. We appreciate having you.
You're welcome. Today. I'm happy to be here with you guys.
All right. So what was that like? I mean, tell us how you got started that way. Tell us about your background and what made you decide to take that fateful drive.
Well, I decided to leave San Francisco in '83. I had attended Cal State University, and I was a little frustrated with going to school. I felt like I just wanted on-hands training. And I decided to move here. I had two friends here, Kevin and Annette, who had moved to New York a year prior, and I just wanted to do it. I don't suggest that to people. I think that
that doesn't always end well.
Yeah, I was 21 and I didn't really do all my due diligence. I was just very passionate and very driven because most of my friends were actors at that time, and I just wanted to help them. And so normally in becoming a casting director, you would work with a seasoned casting director and eventually branch off and start your own company, or you become an associate casting director and you move up. I just did it. A friend of mine, he was a director. He said, Tracey, do you want to be a casting director? And I said, what is that? And at the time, the Drama Bookshop was on 47th and 7th Avenue, and they had no books on casting directors. There are no schools to become casting directors or classes. So it was really learning, on hands. I started in music videos with some of the top groups at the time, from Jodeci to Boyz II Men to Barrio Boys. And I was very challenged in that because music videos weren't necessarily about talent. It was more about the look. And I was doing a lot of male-heavy videos, so you can imagine the look at that time. And so thank God, MTV called me. And they asked me to do a show for a new guy named Jon Stewart. And it was called You Wrote It, You Watch It. And in that show, I discovered Donald Faison. I also, very blessed, discovered this young comedian at the time who had just come up to New York, and he was like 19, Dave Chappell. And I was very young in my casting career, so I didn't necessarily have the confidence to really fight for the talent. I would sort of go along with the directors and the executive producers, but I grew into the confidence to eventually not only fight for talent, but beg for talent, stand up for them. Whatever I could do, but the casting director does not have the final decision, regardless of what actors think. So that really set off my career. And from MTV, I just, there were a lot of lessons learned. I don't believe in mistakes, and I'm very conscious of my words. And so I learned a lot. During the process, I started in doing extras casting and eventually moved up to principal casting. And I've been really blessed to have shared my knowledge with a lot of people who wanted to be casting directors who are currently very successful casting directors in the industry today, because no one taught me. It was self-learned, And there is a quick story. When I realized that I wanted to do casting as a career, I called up 5 casting directors in New York, and I said, can you give me some information on how to be a casting director? Some of them hung up. No one gave me any information. So I called them all back and said, I'm a student at NYU, and I'm doing an article on how underrated casting directors are. And that's how I got my information, protocol, rates from casting directors.
Yeah, I guess at the time you couldn't just Google how to be you couldn't do that.
No.
Now, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say casting directors and agents usually live in those positions. They retire out like that. So It's not like they're trying to invite more casting directors in.
So what drew you to the Big Apple instead of like Southern California in Hollywood?
And LA is 1 hour away, and I figured 3,000 miles away would be a little more challenging for my family to get here. Just kidding. I love my family. LA is a different breed, and for me, I was coming from training. I had trained at a school called Pacific Conservatory of Performing Arts with Dorian Wilson, and I just training was such an important aspect of my journey and just what I believed in. And New York was that place for me that had that foundation, not necessarily LA. So I wanted to, and also I grew up, during all the New York shows. And so I wanted snow. I wanted 4 seasons. I grew up in fog and earthquakes. So I was ready to come out here.
Now, I got to back you up a little bit just because you touched on a name that to me it's a huge name and it means so much. I think he's a genius, and that's Dave Chappell.
Yes.
I'd love to hear if you have something that you could share with us, a story about your meeting with Dave Chappell. I just think he's a genius the way he thinks. He's so innovative. He's so thought-provoking. He's funny, and he challenges you to be a better human being, I think. So,
absolutely.
Love to hear.
And he's been very consistent, throughout his whole career and his life. I brought Dave up to MTV, and I put him in front of, at the time, Ted Demme was alive.
Yeah.
And this guy, Joel Stillerman, who is running Hulu right now. And, there was some really, there was another producer at the time, but they were looking to develop a show back in the late 80s, similar to, what is now TRL. But they wanted a comedian to host. And specifically, they wanted a Caucasian comedian. So I brought in, like, the Dave Attell's, like, all of these, these guys now who are doing extremely well. And then I just slipped in this guy, Dave Chappelle. And they were like, okay, first he's African American, and that wasn't on the breakdown. But I always wanted to bring in people of color just to give choices. And so Dave came in, did an amazing job, and when he left, they were just, they weren't confirmed on what I saw. I thought at the time he was a young Dick Gregory. I saw his, career just evolving before my eyes. And so I begged. For this one, I begged because I was like, there's nobody like him. He's amazing. And they said no. And 2 years later, MTV called me back and they said, Tracey, can you get that Dave Chappell guy? And I said, no. Robin Hood Men in Tights, that guy is gone, but he's still my friend. And to this day, Dave Chappell is one of my friends. And when he was going through the whole Dave Chappelle show and going to Africa and being crazy and all of these things, he called me and we had a conversation, and he said, Tracey, I'm not crazy. And I was like, no, I know you're not crazy. And, it just reconfirmed our relationship. It doesn't matter how long it's been. We embrace each other. We have love for each other. And Dave remembers, there are certain actors that remember the role that I played in their life. And I'm grateful for that.
You were listening to Tara Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC. I'm Ray Schwetz, along with Donyshia Boston-Hill, and our guest today is Tracey Moore of The Spirited Actor. Now, you touched on something there. I mean, obviously you had a relationship with Dave Chappelle that, not only lasted, obviously from his humble beginnings to now being a superstar, and you've maintained that relationship. What other relationships have you maintained that are kind of similar in that scope?
Oh, my God.
I'm sure many.
Well, I've been Busta Rhymes' coach for 21 years, and I've maintained that relationship and been, from him to Eve. My daughter graduated from high school, and Eve came to the graduation party at my house. The thing is that, wow, just really every actor that I've touched from Michael K. Williams, wow, it's
all right, Tracey. You can name drop.
It's mind-boggling.
Yeah,
okay,
of course.
Okay, all right. Eve, Music Soul Child, Ludacris, Terrence J. and Roxy, Free from 106 in Park, Olivia, Tahiri. Just the other day, I coach Angela Simmons, Vanessa Simmons, Tyran. I coach almost half of growing up hip hop, a lot of people in growing up hip hop. It's from musical artists to actors, Nafisa Williams, Christian Keys, Sean Ringel. I have been casting since 1987. So I have been really fortunate to know a lot of people, Idris Elba, when he was a DJ. I've just known people from the embryo stages, Anthony Mackie, the list it's phenomenal. And one day I am going to sit down and put this list together of all the people that I've been blessed to touch in my career as an acting coach, a teacher, or a casting director. So it ranges from musical artists, athletes. Thomas Jones was just recently on my show. I coach Angela Yee from the Breakfast Club, DJ Envy, his wife and his children, Charlemagne.
Wow.
And it continues. And recently I coached Cardi B in The Hustler.
Nice. Now, how do you know when someone has that something special?
Well, confidence and presence is very important, because whether I know you have it, you have to know you have it. And when you walk in the room knowing that you are special and that you have something, there is a certain posture that you have. And so for me, and sometimes, a lot of celebrities, people are very shy, and people would be surprised to have that conversation, but they are. And so someone can come in and blow me away in that aspect. But I think that talent is something that you just know. You don't have to be a casting director. It's something instinctively inside you that just really illuminates your soul. Like you know, the hair stands up on your arms, and for me, I lose my breath in an audition while engaging with an actor if I was in an audition. And you just know. I can't, articulate it because it really is physical. The emotional and the verbiage comes afterwards, and it's like, oh my God, you were amazing. But initially, talent takes your breath away. There's something uniquely different that stands out and separates them from those who aren't talented. And not to say those who aren't talented can't take classes and get better. That's a choice. But you definitely know the difference between an amateur and a professional.
Now, what are some of the misconceptions about what you do? I mean, you sometimes see in movies that are self-referential where, a movie has an actor in it and a casting director. Is that true? Is that how it works? Or what are some of the misconceptions you see?
There are a couple of misconceptions. Well, one is that the casting director has the final decision. That is not true. You can be dealing with a celebrity director, or, with film, you're dealing with the studios, and with TV, you're dealing with the studios, the television studios as well. So there are a lot of people who, they have an opinion and their voice matters in terms of the casting. So that's something, because I've been stopped on the street as a casting director and an actress like, you didn't cast me, and I'm like, it's not I call you and tell you have the job. That's what I do. After
don't shoot the messenger.
The decision. You know what I mean? After the decision made. I think there's a misconception of making it. There is no place that you go and someone knights you and boom, you've made it. That is a total misconception. For me, I believe actors make it when they take classes. They're honing their craft, because the bottom line is the only control that actors have is their craft and being the best actor that you can be. There is no time limit on when this is going to happen. I've known Sam Jackson I met Sam Jackson when he was doing Pulp Fiction, and Sam Jackson was 25 years into his career. When I first came to New York, he was doing a soldier's play at the Negro Ensemble Company, and so there are these from Sam, and then there's Rob Brown, who I worked with on Finding Forrester. That was his first film ever, and he went to go out to extra because he just wanted $50 to pay his phone bill, and he walked out of there 6 figures opposite of Sean Connery. So there's a misconception that there's a time frame, there's a due pain, there's all of these things that actors create, but the truth is, the more you work on your craft and focus on being a great actor, you don't even have to be concerned about getting your name out there. When you're a great actor, we know about it and we talk about it.
Wow. I mean, you must have some amazing stories.
Oh, my God. Just yesterday I was telling a friend, I said, I really have to sit down and write these stories, because I do. I'm, with my clients, I've had the most, I would say with, just an example with Eve, when we were working on a film called Woodsman, that Tim and Dash was executive producing, and Eve had allergic reaction, and we had to go to emergency, and Troy Carter was her manager at the time, and they said that one person could be in the back with her. And I was like, oh, it's going to be Troy. Of course, that's her manager, or maybe her assistant, And Troy said, Tracey, Eve would like you to, come in the back. And I was like, really? And I went back there, and the relationship was not acting coach client. I felt like I was like a big sister. And I was a human being, and I was just back there supporting her through, whatever the procedure was, and just sort of distracting her, from the pain and whatever. And, you know, it was just such an endearing moment, like, you know, as I said, like human beings. I forget that my friends are celebrities, and I always say I just happen to have friends who are celebrities because, and they forget too. There was a time once where Buster, we were at the store, and he was like getting ready to get out the car like he was a regular person. He was like, Tracey, you want anything from the store? And I was like, I think I need to go into the store, Mr. Rod. You forgot who you are, you know, because there's a comfort, you know.
That's funny.
That is hilarious. Yeah. You are listening to Tara Talk Business Radio. Our guest today is Tracey Moore of The Spirited Actor. My name is Donyshia Boston-Hill, along with Ray Schwetz on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
So, yeah, a lot of stories, a lot of people who, and you really hit it. It's that you have a relationship with them, and that's something I think, you know, a lot of businesses, you know, when they hear that, to me, that's what rings, is that, you know, you've created some solid relationships, and that's what grows.
Right. Mm-hmm. So being an actor is the business of acting. Yeah. And you actually wrote a book about that.
Yes. I wrote a book, The Spirited Actor, Principles for a Successful Audition, which is on Amazon and also authorshouse.com. And this book came about because I would be in an audition and something would always occur, and I would write a note and say, if I ever did a workshop or a speaking engagement or wrote a book, this is what I'm going to incorporate. And so that is initially how the book started. And then I was doing the film Barbershop 1 with Eve in Chicago, and we worked 16 hours a day, 6 days a week. And one day that we had off, usually sleep or we would catch up on our laundry, but I would take at least 4 hours of that time and write my book, and that's how the book was finished in 2.5 months. Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm going to suggest the title for a second book. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Confessions of a Casting Director.
Ooh.
Oh, Raymond, why do you want to get me in trouble? Do you know how much I have to be cremated with? Like,
you know where all the bodies are buried. Okay.
I'm just saying, and I don't want to know. Okay.
No, I'm just teasing you, but
that's a great title, though. I love that.
In all seriousness, I mean, yeah, the folks that you know. So I would say, you know, getting beyond that and going back to just like you said, you know, people are human beings and they need help.
Right.
So when someone comes to you, you know, and you're just getting the introduction, how does that come to play? Like, how does that happen?
As a student or a private client, does it matter?
Well, yeah, I guess that's a good differentiation for us to talk about. So, obviously, some of it is that you have students that come to you to learn.
Yes. And those are usually by referrals. I teach a class called The Spirited Actor. And so I've been teaching that class since my son is now 24, and I was 6 months pregnant when I started teaching.
You started teaching him when he was not born yet?
Oh.
No, I'm just messing.
Well, you know what? No, that's true, because I was teaching in his class when and at first he was like, but then, you know, that was sort of an after-school program that I created for his school. But in terms of my celebrity clients, I've been really blessed. I have relationships with agencies, so CAA, ICM, and William Morris. Those are usually the agencies that house the A-list celebrities. And so those agents are always calling and referring their clients to me. And so that's normally how I get the referrals, or sometimes celebrities can other celebrity friends. But the process is usually, one of the criticisms that I get is that I'm too positive and too nice. And so one of the things people will say is, well, can you give honest, constructive criticism? And I say to them, we live in a very strange world when something is wrong, when someone is positive. That's backwards to me.
I agree.
But I just don't, everyone has their way of teaching, and I respect those lanes. I am very concerned with the morale of my clients because we live in worlds of mental illness, and we need to take the shame off of it. And with actors, you deal with anxiety. There are stresses and pressures, and so I am concerned with their talent, inclusive of their morale and their state of mind. And so one of the things that, to me, the Spirited Actor is about, it's about empowering the person inside the actor and just checking in on the person's spirit and making sure that, they're okay. Because when I live on the set with my clients, for instance, Cardi on Hustler, we had a night shoot, which are the worst. But we call time is at 3:00, and then we don't wrap until like 8 a.m. in the morning. And so I don't sleep. My clients may sleep, but my job is to make sure that, if wardrobe comes in and brings wardrobe, that, we have the proper wardrobe, make sure the sides, pages of a script, our sides are in our trailer. Their refrigerator is stocked with what they need. My concern on a set is that my client has everything they need to excel in the role that we're there for. And for Cardi, this was her first film experience, but the great thing about it is that it was something close to her, an experience that she knows of. So that's why she was so dynamic in it. The only way an actor can bring authenticity to a performance is if they have that experience. An actor's job is to do your homework and study. However, when you do have the experience and knowledge of that experience of your character, you can excel and you soar in that performance.
Now, Tracey, you are just a wealth of information and just uplifting us today. Now, you also have a podcast that people can hear some of your tidbits. And can you share where people can find you and just a little bit about that?
Thank you for acknowledging that. I appreciate love. Those are Tracey-isms. I don't say appreciate, I say appreciate love. So I have the Spirited Actor podcast on iHeartRadio, and we launched on October 15th. So every Tuesday, you can tune in, free app on iHeart app, and you can listen. And I have a range of working actors to directors, agents, casting directors. Casting directors and agents, I'm putting a face on them, and I'm also celebrating them as well because they don't get acknowledged as much. So, and we just bring a wealth of knowledge to actors, and experiences, and, just really inspiring and empowering them on their journey. It's not about when I'm going to make it. It's about your body of work. Everything that you do, put your heart and soul into it. I don't care if it's a short film, a web series, it's all inclusive to your body of work. And when we have that true Hollywood story, we will see your body of work. So, it's just important that actors embrace the experience and trust that there is a role out there for them. Acting is not tangible. You can't graduate, get your BFF, and then, yay, I'm an actor and I'm on a soap opera or whatever. It doesn't happen like that. And so when you step into this realm, you have to also understand that you have to hold the vision for yourself. And you have to hold that vision that one day you are going to have a role. Everybody has a story, from Leonardo to Denzel. It is a journey. And enjoy the journey, enjoy the process, and know that there's a role out there for you to become a consistent working actor.
We'd like to thank you for being on our show today, Tracey.
Oh, thank you. This is so much fun.
I want to thank you for being with us. My name is Ray Schwetz, along with Donyshia Boston-Hill, your co-hosts and producers. This is an NCC Foundation Business Leaders Council production. Visit ncc.edu/WHPC for more information. Available on iHeartRadio, as a podcast on iTunes, Android Podcast, and Spreaker. This has been Tower Talk Business Radio, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation on the voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC. We'll talk with you next week.